This is the 2024 Hyundai Santa Fe in the SEL trim, and this thing is absolutely crazy. Welcome back to another walk around video. Today, as I mentioned before, we've got the 2024 Hyundai Santa Fe in the SEL trim. A lot, and I mean a lot, has changed this year. So let's just start off by doing a quick walk around of the outside of the car so you can get a solid idea of what's different. Let's start off at the front here. And I do want to apologize for any road noise that is picked up by the microphone. As you can see, I'm right next to a main road, so we're just going to live with it. This thing is an absolute unit. It is dramatically larger than the previous 2023 model. And honestly, a lot has changed, so this might be a bit of a longer video. We'll try to capture everything that's important, and for more specifics, you can always visit our website. So starting off right at the front here, we have a 2.5 liter turbocharged inline-four. This outputs 277 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. Additionally, it has a 0 to 60 in 6.3 seconds. It comes standard with front-wheel drive, though all-wheel drive is available. This puppy starts at $35,000 and some change and ends up just above $43,000 with options included. It gets about 23 miles per gallon according to the EPA, though more real-life tests will come out in the future. For now, let's walk around to the back of the car and take a look at what's new in the 2024 model year. Before we dive in here, look at that lift. It really goes up high. I'm 6'1", and it is a solid inch or two above my head. Of course, we have a button to close and a button to lock it. Let's get this out of the way for you guys. We have some carpet mats here, which we'll just sort of shimmy up here for now. Right here, we have our quick jack with a tool there and some storage space down here for whatever you may please. We have a 12-volt, 180-watt power supply. And of course, these seats do fold up. We have the ability to power down the second row. Let's pull this up here. This has varying degrees of angling, so we can angle it all the way back. We can angle it up. Let me do it the proper way. We can angle it up a little more if we so please. We're actually gonna make it straight up just so you can sort of see. And we're just gonna keep that up for the duration of this review until our driving test. Let me make sure this box is out of the way. Excellent. Let's dive in to the inside now. starting off on the door card. It's all painted plastic throughout here, but it does look very nice. We have 2 cup holders right on the door here, some space in the door card, and a decent amount of space for a bottle of some kind. We have this handy little button, which will lean that and push it forward. Sorry for the squeaking. This is literally a brand new car that came off the truck just yesterday. So all the stuff you would experience as a customer is a little different because it hasn't been fully prepped. Let's hop in the back here. I am a very big person, I would like to state. I am 6'1", with mostly legs. So I just want to really pull this back to experience what it's like. So I'm sitting in the back here. I'm going to give you guys a quick look around the car. All right. This is actually pushed up a little bit. It's admittedly a little difficult to actually pull this seat all the way back without being on the other side to push it forward. So this is the best we can get. I could try to scoot over to this seat, which is all the way back. And as you can see, it's extremely cramped. So if you're going to have a bigger adult, I would recommend you pull these seats forward, because as it is right now, I can live with this. And remember, we do have a pull tab here, which I can pull in order to lean back quite a bit more, which does make this space more comfortable as well. As I showed before, we do have 2 couplers here and 2 over here with a rear AC control, which is nice, and some vents on both sides. Let's push this button again. And there's a child lock. So we're going to cut the video so I can get out of this car because I forgot to turn the child lock off. Alrighty, and we're back. Admittedly, it was not the most intelligent idea to not check the child lock before attempting all that, especially as someone who's 6'1" and mostly legs. So regardless, we're back. I made it out safely. Let's sit in the rear now. Make sure the seat's all the way back, which it is. I can even lean it back further. Let's give you a quick preview of the inside before I start running my mouth. All right. So, as I mentioned a few times here, I am 6'1" in the full back seating position with the movement fully back and the back support level with the other side. I am sitting here very comfortably. I have quite a bit more leg room. My feet hit first and my knees have plenty of room, which is nice. If someone were sitting in the third row, such as a larger adult, I would have to sit forward more, and that's when things would get a little more cramped. This seating position is my normal seating position, so I like to have my back more. I like to be further away from the steering wheel so I can have more legs, more room for my legs. So if I were driving and then there were another me behind me and another me behind the one that's behind me, it would get a little cramped. However, if you have some children in the third row and maybe 2 medium-sized adults in the rear and then even a tall person in the driver's seat, you should be fine. Directly in front of me is this really neat holder of sorts. So apologies for not knowing the correct word. It does snap straight back up, so you can store things like, folders, snacks probably, whatever else you would put in something like this. And we do have some hooks here for, I presume, hanging clothes or really hanging anything that could go around that. We do have two USB-C chargers on the side for charging devices. Oddly enough, in the SEL trim, there is no rear climate control. However, we do have a storage area, quite a deep one at that, and there's even a little pass-through into the main compartment, which is nice. And we have access to the front storage cubby, which is also very nice. Beyond that, we have even more cup holders right in the center here. So that's really 2, 4, and then another 4 in the back. So that's 8. And then we have 10 plus the ones up there. So we have at least 12 cup holders in this entire car, which I think is a little excessive, but it's perfect for a large family. Let's move around to the front of the car, of the interior, and take a look at that. I want to interrupt this walk around video real quick to talk about McGee Hyundai. McGee Hyundai is a dealership that prides itself in customer experience and pricing. Our goal is to provide you the best experience and the best price that you can't find anywhere else. If you're not interested in visiting our dealership, don't worry. You can visit our website at mcgeehyundai.com and buy any new or used car straight from our website. You don't need to visit the dealership. You don't need to talk to a salesperson. You find your vehicle, enter your information, it'll get sent over to us, and once everything's processed and you accept the terms, we'll bring the car straight to your house, to your work, or to your school. You don't need to visit us. You can do it all from the comfort of your couch. All right, thank you, and let's get back to the walk around. All right, let's start her up. Awesome. Just like in the rear, I'm going to give you guys a quick look around the front of the interior so you can get an idea of what that looks like without hearing me run my mouth. Awesome. When you sit in the front of the Hyundai Santa Fe 2024, the first thing that's going to leap right out at you is this steering wheel. This steering wheel is, well, completely different than the 2023 model. It is bolder, it is bigger, and it is really just in your face. And personally, I absolutely love it. It feels very big. It feels very sturdy. It feels very soft, actually. We have basic controls over here. We have the adaptive cruise control. We have the lane keep / self-driving type of mode. We have voice control, phone buttons, favorite buttons, volume, etc. We also have this little thing back here, which is a sensor for these features to make sure you're keeping your eyes on the road and you're not being distracted by anything within the cabin. Immediately in front of our face, we see two touchscreens. They are 12.3-inch touchscreens, digital gauge cluster, and a touchscreen here. The digital gauge cluster is different on the limited XRT calligraphy trims, but on the SE and the SEL, they will look just like this one. It gives you some basic information like trip. When you have adaptive cruise, it'll show cars in front of you. And we have information about the amount of torque being applied to the wheels and the angle of which your wheels are pointed. If we turn the steering wheel, you'll see they turn directions. Moving over to the touchscreen, we're not going to spend too much time here as it's exactly the same in every other 2023 and 2024 Hyundai. We have a very fast, very responsive touchscreen. There's minimal to no delay whatsoever. There's really no problems doing anything within that display. Moving down here, we have this honestly really nice premium looking HVAC / command center type ordeal. At the top here, we have some hotkeys for the home, the map, search, etc. We have a favorites button, which can be mapped to any touchscreen control. We have our HVAC, so we have these really cool rubber grooved dials with metal on top and a little display showing the temperature. We have heated seats. Again, this is the SEL trim, so the SEL comes with heated seats. We have buttons for our HVAC controls, fan speed, circulation, etc. This is not a touch screen. This is a capacitive screen. So what that means is that there's no physical feedback. You touch the screen and it does a thing. There's no buttons or anything like that. As you can see though, if we get a little closer, it does show like the status. So it's on level 2, level 1, off. It shows the fan speed. And when you click a button, it'll react, showing you that it was indeed clicked. Let's turn that off. We have our auto hold button, drive modes, which we'll get back to in a moment here. 4-wheel drive lock, which is nice to have. Auto start stop, hill start assist, hill assist, our parking camera, and parking assist, which is for the front and the rear. So it lets you know when you're about to hit something. We have 2 wireless chargers, we have 1 wireless charger. On other trim models, we have the second one as well, but on the SEL, it's just 1. And we also have 2 USB-C ports. Before moving further down, I would like to state that this has Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Both are wireless, which is nice. Moving down here, we have a fairly big cup holder. Keeping along with the theme of the rest of the car, they are squared off, which is nice. Before we hit the center console, I would like to dive below here. Let me move the manual out of the way. Down here, we have a little bit of extra storage space, as well as an additional 12-volt, 180-watt charger. We have some nice rubber matting to prevent things from sliding around when you're driving. Let's come back over here to the center console, which when I first found this out was honestly kind of cool. As we saw before, you can pop it up from the back if you're in the back. Though obviously we won't be doing that. We'll pop it from the front. And you look down and it doesn't really seem that big. This is adjustable, so you can take that out or put it back if you'd like. But then I realized you can take it out and it goes even further. Now, this one down here is the one that connects to the rear. Let's see if I can pull it out. And it even gives you more storage space there. So they can pull it out. You can put stuff in there and then slide it back in, which is very nice. And then you sort of have this. If you don't want it in the center console, you can toss it over there or what have you. but I thought it was neat that you could do that. Beyond that, optionally, we have this little compartment. Now, I should clarify what I mean by optionally is that this compartment will come in every single 24 Santa Fe. The difference being is that optionally, you can add a UV, I believe it's UVC sterilization, which means you can put your phones or your keys or really anything that can fit in this little section, and it will be sterilized, meaning it'll kill certain types of bacteria or certain types of viruses, etc. For more in-depth information on that, you can visit Hyundai's website. They will provide a little bit more information about how that works. And then, of course, down here we have a parking brake, illumination controls. We can open the rear hatch and traction control. And before I forget, it's a column shifter. So following the pattern of all 2024 Hyundais. Up here, we have more capacitive buttons to do various things. You get an additional button depending on the trim. So that is pretty much it for the interior of the 2024 Santa Fe in the SEL trim. However, there is a few more trims that will be coming out that as soon as we get them, I will be making a video on and talking about. Those trims include the SE, the Limited, the XRT, and the Calligraphy. Those will be coming a bit later. We're still waiting on those, but as soon as they come out, I will talk about them and we'll dive into them. But for now, that was everything available on the 2024 Santa Fe SEL. So up next, we will do a quick POV drive. All right, it took me a minute, but I got the camera oriented for us. So let's just take a brief little drive around the block. I'll talk about the steering, the handling, and the performance of this car. The pickup speed is also very nice. You can definitely tell that it has 277 horsepower. We'll keep it in normal. We'll put it into sport on the way back. So the 2024 Santa Fe, just like the 23 before it, prides itself in ride quality. This isn't a Tucson. This isn't a Palisade, which also has a nice ride quality. This isn't like the rest of Hyundai's lineup, or SUV lineup, I should say, where they each kind of serve their own purpose. The Santa Fe does serve its own purpose, but it doesn't. It's focused heavily on ride quality, ride smoothness, which is very apparent when taking this for a spin. Our dealership is located in Vermont, so we have a lot of bumps, we have a lot of potholes, we have a lot of snow, a lot of mud. Right now it's more mud than snow, and we have just a lot of rough terrain. I haven't, taken this thing off-roading because it is a dealership car, so I don't want to, damage it in any way, so I'm not going to do that. But based on these rougher condition roads and the speed at which I've traveled on them, this thing handles these roads just fine. I don't believe I mentioned this earlier, but this car has 18-inch wheels. In 418s, it goes over the bumps like they're not even there, really. I'm going to switch into sport mode, actually. Let's keep it in normal at the roundabout, and then once we make it through the roundabout, we'll switch into sport. So this is, of course, a 3-row SUV. So I would not expect anybody to get in this car, or rather, I wouldn't want anyone to expect to get into this car and think it's going to handle corners like nothing else. This is a 3-row SUV. It is quite larger than the 23 Santa Fe, um, though smaller than the Palisade. So it's not going to take these corners like we're driving an Elantra or a Sonata, or even a Kona or a Tucson. However, as you saw in that relatively light corner, it did handle it decently as soon as I started rotating the wheel more. One thing I do want to note here is the reachability of everything here. As I mentioned earlier, I'm 6'1". I'm mostly legs, though I, of course, have decent sized arms. I'm all the way back, and reaching things really isn't a problem. I would say the screen is hardest to reach, but even that I can reach with my middle finger here. So, not a big deal. I can reach the important buttons like drive mode and four-wheel drive lock and things like that relatively easy. I can touch the climate controls very, very easy, and even these top row buttons are no problem. One thing I do want to note that I didn't really talk about earlier is that everything in this car seems very identifiable without looking. I would say the exception to that are things like the heated seat, the circulation, and the fan speed. But I can easily turn these up and down without looking at them. Drive mode is indented with a bigger switch, so it's easy to quickly find that and switch into sport, switch into normal without looking down. These buttons are sort of blended together, though if you know drive mode's here, then you know four-wheel drive lock's right next to it on the right and auto holds on the left. So once you get used to that, you kind of know where things are. And I will say that I really like that the phones go here. That is possibly one of my favorite comfort features of the 24 Santa Fe. Simply because if I'm recording with the phone, but if I had it right here and I was driving and like someone's calling me, and let's say I'm not using Apple CarPlay or Android Auto for whatever reason, I could just quickly look down, hang up the phone or answer the phone, and it wouldn't be a problem. So that is one thing I do really enjoy. Dive into that. So we actually have a tight lot right now, so we're going to see if we can get this in here. So as you can see, the lines move with the vehicle, depending on how your steering wheel is oriented. I might have taken that too steep there. Let's do that. And as you heard, it beeps at me, so if I was about to clip something, it would let me know, just like that. And as you can see, it gets warmer and warmer, and it changes color. And it also changes color up on the dash. I'm not sure if the camera is angled properly for you to see that, but it alerts me that I'm getting a little close. It beeps more. And we're going to stay there. We're not going to get too much closer to that. All right. And quickly, just to show you the other options, they have a top-down view and a sort of a wider angle lens in case someone's in your blind spot that you can't quite see. All right, that was the 2024 Santa Fe. Let me know in the comments what you think about the 24 Santa Fe. Do you think the SEL is for you? Are you looking for something closer to the Limited? And are you interested in seeing a video on the Limited and the XRT and the calligraphy when they do come out? And if you're interested in seeing any other 2024 Hyundai vehicle, let me know in the comments and I'll be happy to make a video on it.